Greetings, Eric Bakker. Thanks for coming back. I just did a video and we talked about, what do we talk about? If you really enjoy bread, potatoes, chippies, potato chips, French fries and things like that. Now we're going to talk about the other one. Do you really crave or enjoy sugar, soda drinks, candy, chocolate, ice cream? So what do you do? So sugar is very addictive. It's very addictive for so many people. It's like a drug, okay? It affects the brain profoundly. It puts people on a high. It's very, very addictive. They put it in so many different foods. I've even been told that sugar is put in toilet paper. Not that people eat it, but it has something to do with the pliability of the toilet paper. So a long time ago, around 1900, sugar was extremely expensive. So people, only the elite people could really afford refined sugar. And people ate honey, small amounts of honey. They didn't really have sugar back then. Now people eat up to twice their body weight per year in sugar because it's so cheap. And we've also seen an explosion in obesity as a result. So I started to notice issues with sugar with people long time ago when I started to go into practice. I noticed that people loved really sweet things. And I started to really understand why people wanted these sweet things. So often it occurs through imbalances in diet and lifestyle, and it can be easily corrected. So it's very important you watch this video right through to the end if you want to get all the information, okay? Many people skip my video and they fly up, or they'll say, oh, go to minute 4.12 for the information. But don't do that. Watch all this, because this is an important video for people who crave sweet stuff, okay? So let's talk about a few things that really cause blood sugar imbalances to start with. So once you've been eating sugar for a while, of course, it affects your blood sugar. Your blood sugar goes up, and then the pancreas produces a hormone called insulin to bring it down. And oftentimes it'll bring it down too fast. It'll plummet that blood sugar, and that will set you up again for another fix with sugar down the track. It could be an hour, 2 hours, or it could be 4 hours later. You want more sweet stuff. So basically you're on a roller coaster, okay? It's a little bit like a patient I had several years ago who was a thrill seeker, and he would go on all these sort of, roller coaster rides and stuff like that, and that wasn't enough. And then he started to do bungee jumping, and then he started to jump out of aeroplanes, and that wasn't enough. And then he started to get into base jumping, and eventually he got into wearing those wingsuits and flying around mountains and stuff like that. And he said to me, Eric, the only time I feel alive is when I'm really at a high. And I thought, wow, this is exactly like many people with blood sugar issues. The only time they feel really good is when they have that cookie in their mouth, or that Mars bar, or that big, sundae full of sugar. And you have a look at a lot of people walking around in the shopping malls, and they've got a big smile on their face because they've got a big double ice cream, two scoops of ice cream. That's when they feel really alive. They get a spike out of that. It's almost like then they've had 3 shots of whiskey or vodka. They just feel, they feel empowered because of that sugar. So sugar has a very stimulatory effect on the brain. It gives you a rush. So once you've had that rush, you want to go back to it again. It's a bit like ice or methamphetamine, isn't it? Once you get the hit, you want to go back for the hit and back for the hit. So don't be fooled. Sugar is super addictive. Once you like sugar and you keep going back to it, you'll keep wanting it more and more and more. And as a result, it will end up destroying the blood sugar regulatory mechanism. You'll plunge yourself into diabetes, heart disease, and all of the problems that having such a low pH brings to the body. Yeast infections, and eventually cancer. Because many people with cancer, when I have a look at them, they had sugar cravings, sugar addictions. Artificial sugars have been shown to actually stimulate sugar addiction further. So don't touch artificial sweetness. Try and keep off them altogether. Okay? Now the other issue that we need to talk about is stress. How stress induces cortisol to go up, and cortisol then liberates stored sugar. So it pushes sugar into the bloodstream and pushes that right up. And that stimulates heart disease and a whole lot of other processes. And again, we're going to get blood sugar dysregulation. We get more insulin production, and then the blood sugar crashes. So people under high stress often crave sweet stuff as well. So I've spoken about this in a previous video. I talked about the salt craving with stress. So the 2 big things people crave under stress are sugar and salt. And the third component is fat. because fat is where the body also can produce energy from. Now, I've said all that. Have a think about this. Next time you go to McDonald's, what are the key things they like to sell to you? Sugar, salt, and fat. Okay. When you go to Kentucky Fried Chicken, sugar, salt, and fat. When you go to Domino's Pizza, sugar, salt, and fat. All of these takeout joints all focus on sugar, salt, and fat. And they put the red coloration up. And we've got red here. Now I was going to show you red, because red is the color they like to use because it stimulates people too. So anytime you see red, bright red, and sugar, salt, and fat, it's usually a takeaway place. So now you understand why they make so much money. They make money out of stress, because a lot of people who eat at these joints are stressed out, and they get their fix, right? So stress, unfortunately, is a big issue with so many people. And that pushes people also into, being stressed out. So stressed out they can't cook properly. They just keep, going back to these takeout joints. So what the hell do you do if you've got a craving for all of this sweet kind of stuff? Well, after you've watched this video, you might identify that you may suffer from a lot of stress. And those are the core things that need fixing up in your life. The things that cause you stress. You need to spend more time planning your meals, shopping for good food, cooking whole foods, proper foods, going to farmers markets or buying like real vegetables, okay? Not embalmed vegetables cooked in deep fried junk, right? So a solid breakfast in the morning, in my opinion, is one of the key things. Having a good breakfast with high protein. Now many people say, Eric, I don't know what to eat for breakfast. It's the hardest meal of the day. If you don't feel like eating at 7 or 8 when you get up, then don't. Eat a little bit later, like 9 or 10. That's okay by me too. But that first meal needs to be a good meal, a solid meal. Hopefully you're going to eat something like, if it's cold, you may want to eat rolled oats, okay, with some fruit on top of that. Otherwise, you could eat a prepared breakfast. Now, that could be something like eggs, for example. Turkey bacon, a lot of people in America eat turkey bacon. Half an avocado. So usually on the weekends, what Tracy and I will have, I'll make a nice breakfast for us when we've got time. It'll be half an avocado, it'll be steamed spinach, half a tomato, a piece of bacon, and it'll be a couple of eggs. And there'll also be some sauteed mushrooms, which Tracy really likes. So it's quite a large plate full of all that food. And usually that's the main meal we have, sort of around 8, 9 o'clock. And then I usually skip lunch. I don't eat lunch. Then I have a dinner around 5 or 6 p.m. I'll often eat like that on the weekends. Why eat 3 meals a day when you can have a nice big one and then a smaller one later on? So having that breakfast is critical for setting you up for the day. So very important that you eat a good meal to start with, okay? Plan your meals in advance. Many people who grab cookies or cakes or donuts don't really think ahead about meal planning. It's just everything's ad hoc and random. They just think, oh, I'm hungry now. Oh, there's a Dunkin' Donut there. Let's eat that now. So that can be my lunch. So plan ahead. Always think, if you're traveling somewhere, where can I eat something good that contains good protein, for example? That's going to fill you up. It's going to create satiety. It's going to stop you from wanting something sweet by planning ahead. It's like financial planning. Always plan ahead. When you retire, will you have enough money to retire on? Okay. Dehydration. Having plenty of water in your body is very, very important to stop sugar cravings. Having enough water allows fiber to work properly. So if you're eating sufficient vegetables and fruits, for example, high fiber ones, and you've got enough water, that slows down the release of how food moves slowly through the digestive system, and it downplays cravings for sweet foods. So just by drinking 4 or 5 glasses of water regularly per day can cut down on sugar cravings remarkably. Now, when it comes to sweets, I prefer honey. I'm a beekeeper. I love honey. Small amount of honey is what I have with my coffee, for example. I have a nice espresso coffee. I put a teaspoon of honey in that. I find that really, really acceptable. When I have my rolled oats in the morning, and I put some berries on that, I put honey on top of that. Now, honey does contain sugar, but it's a different kind of sugar than you're going to get, out of a sugar bowl. But be careful, because honey can also be highly addictive. But you're not going to be having honey on lots and lots of foods, believe me. Honey you get soon sick of because it's so sweet. it's almost as sweet as like say artificial sugars, that you soon work out you can only have certain amounts per day. It's not a fake sugar. It's a very complex sugar with many different types of sugars in it. Whereas if you have white sugar, refined sugar, it's fake. Okay, it has an instant burn in the body, and it makes you want more and more. You keep coming back for more and more of it all the time. Now, the last tip I'll leave you is, we've already talked about eating good food, is to look at bitter and sour foods in the diet. So the principal things people like to eat are sweet things, sour things, and bitter things, and salty things. All right. So when you predominantly eat sugary foods and love them, you don't really like a lot of other stuff. So your whole life revolves around sweet kind of things. But when you start including more bitter in your body, which opposes the sugar, you'll find that slowly you'll back out of that sugar corner and you'll get more into the bitter corner. And the bitter foods are what you want because they improve the gut, they improve digestion, they discourage candida and SIBO, they stop you getting gallbladder problems and pancreatic and stomach dysfunction. Bitter is your friend, sugar is your enemy. Remember that when it comes to the gut. So that's it. I hope you got some good information out of this video. Thanks for the question.